Hello and welcome to
A much
a much overdue again. Apologies. Recording from Forgotten North. You've got myself, Scott,
and Stan
and we just thought, the game's been out 6 months now,
coming up to 6 months.
so we thought, what better thing to do than hopefully let some other nerds out there like ourselves listen to us
Ramble.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a bit of an unscripted, nothing particularly on topic for this one. We just thought it's been it's been give or take 6 months since review. We just get together and have a bit of a chat, and see what our thoughts were and share it with you guys out there.
And if you agree, disagree, let us know.
Absolutely. This is very much just our opinion and our thoughts on how we think the first 6 months of the new game's gone.
And where do we think it's going to go?
Where we think it's going to go, and what we personally have upcoming in the next little while.
Yeah.
So
let's start.
With that, to start with, what do you think? Let's start with the
big one.
The elephant in the room, which is the production issues.
Starting outside Warhammer World at 8 o'clock in the morning on a cold January.
I think there's been lots, as we'll come on to shortly, lots and lots of very positive things about All World.
Yeah.
What I think everyone agrees with is that the timescales in production has not been one of those things.
No, but I'll be accused of being a simp or whatever for GW, but looking at it, the writing was on the wall from the start. GW had a massive explosion in popularity in the COVID times, and with 8th edition 40k and 2nd edition AOS, brought a lot of people to the hobby. The production couldn't keep up then COVID hit, and it's got more and more popular ever since then, but with the same production.
I think you're totally right, and I also think probably also in reality just massively underestimated how popular the game was going to be.
It's everything. They can't keep anything in stock with us.
No, it's not just a world, is it?
To talk about, to put it in a Star Trek where you've got Roundtree at the top there, calling down to engineering for more power, and the poor production.
Kind of do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
The poor
Apologies
production manager.
to anyone who's listening from Scotland who.
Yeah, the poor production manager sitting there going, I've got, what's it? I can't remember if it's 40 or 60 machines.
What he has is not enough machines, isn't
it?
Let's be honest.
So the writing was on the wall, and let's be honest, it's always going to be a fringe game.
I think the other thing that's, I was going to say hurt them, what I mean is like a little bit of an own goal is they had a really good announcement for the dwarfs, and then there's been nothing, not even any kind of update from GW since.
But they never update on it. Correct us if I'm wrong, but at that same update, AOS 4 was announced.
I think so, yeah, I think so.
And that's going on pre-order next week. So
like, if you think logically, like dwarfs are going to be around the corner, aren't they?
They can't be far. They were either going to be really quickly,
or a little bit later,
or after AOS, because they're not.
The production, you mentioned it. Production's already so stretched. They're going to need to get one of them out of the way with first, and it either had to be AOS. Is it 3rd edition now? Fourth edition now. Had to get AOS out of the way with either before or after the dwarfs.
And AOS.
And actually, it's their AOS is after 40k is their big game.
AOS is going to sell more than Old World dwarfs.
But yeah, I mean, as much as I love Old World and Square Bases, we've got to accept that Age of Sigmar is their number 2 game after 40k.
Yeah, but let's be honest, without success of 40k and AOS, we wouldn't have Old World.
No, 100%. Yeah. Look,
so, not my game.
Not to hate on Sigmar, absolutely not to hate on Sigmar, but we've
40K.
got to thank. But I'd put 40k aside because it doesn't really impact fantasy per se. But I think if it wasn't for
other than being the production-eating monster.
Yes, if people could just stop playing 40k and stop buying 40k just long enough that we could produce more Old World, but not long enough that Games Workshop decided it's no longer profitable. If you could. If you could tightrope that really fine line, that would be really cool.
But on the production, and the other thing as well, coming from a man that's still waiting for his trolls.
Are you still waiting for your trolls?
Still waiting for my trolls.
Yeah.
a lot of the resins, it's very easy. I've never worked in plastics, but my understanding is you put a die in a plastics machine, go, give me 1,000 of them,
And boom.
walk away, have a cup of tea, and come back. While resin and lead casting is
It's
still
not,
done by hand, one person having to do it. So, yeah, it's going to be a massive ball ache to
It
meet
kind of
the.
is what it is with it, isn't it? In that regard, it's tough. And I suppose the fact there's a problem is a positive thing,
Yeah,
because it does mean that the uptake's been very popular.
yeah.
I think you obviously had the two. Brett's and Tomb Kings were an absolute no-brainer because they'd been the most cried out for armies for
Well,
God knows
the
how
only
long.
thing you couldn't get literally anything
Yeah.
for,
Um,
unless you were to sell a kidney, your firstborn.
Aye. Yeah, I mean, the prices on, like, say, from eBay scalpers, etc., were horrific. You had no new Brett, anything new or even released for Brett since, what, like 6th edition was the last time they were available readily, I think.
Well, you could get them all through 8th, but didn't have any, well, they
Didn't have rules.
didn't have an 8th edition book.
No. And then Orcs and Goblins came fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I think probably that's what's thrown off people who are looking for the Dwarfs or any other army. It feels like Orcs and Goblins came quite quickly.
When did
I don't know if it really did or whether it just felt that
did
way.
they come in the end of March, April?
They got announced pretty much on launch day, didn't they?
Yes, because
They
we
got
saw
announced
them.
on
We
launch.
saw them
That's right.
at
We saw them at
Warhammer.
Warhammer World. Got launched that day, and then,
When were we at Warhammer World?
was it February?
No, it wasn't that quick. It was March or April.
I quite actually no idea. I can't remember.
It was.
But I think it's been less of a weight between the two of them than what people feel like it has been. But that's just me gut, and it could be me trying to kid myself. But because as someone who's waiting to buy some of those new dwarfs, like I really like that new guy on the
We
shield.
were at Warhammer World on the 20th and 21st of April.
For the event.
Yes.
Yes.
And the Orcs and Goblins hadn't long been released.
Yes. Sorry. What I meant was when were Warhammer World when they got announced for launch?
Oh, that was January. Mid-January.
I was mid-Jan. I thought it was mid-Feb. So then really, you're talking 2 months after announcement before they got released. Is my point.
Probably about 2.5 months. Cause they
Yeah.
came out
So
started
in
April.
reality, there's not much difference between when the dwarfs were announced. A bit longer.
A bit longer, but you always knew that was going to happen. If it didn't come out in early June,
It was going to come in.
I was going to come after AOS.
Yeah. So with AOS due out next week,
Yeah.
then the hope is dwarfs are going to follow on their.
2-week pre-order.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do a pre-order during the AOS
No, I think it'll be.
because they'll be all hands at pump trying to get.
I think reality is
those
it's
boxes
now
out.
what? It's now late June, so the dwarfs are going to be out in quote unquote July.
Maybe for my birthday.
What a coincidence.
If anyone from Games Workshop wants to send me dwarfs for my birthday, just get in touch.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? If they want to send me an extra King on a Shield Bearers for Stan's birthday, that'd also be cool. Like just saying.
But yeah, I think it will be a slower release.
Yeah. I think that's logically. I think everyone kind of accepts that. I think
It's frustrating.
it's frustrating, and in an ideal world, the game wouldn't be launched with only 3 completely playable factions.
No.
Not playable, but 3 available factions.
2
rather.
factions and then one coming soon after.
Yeah, but I mean, as it stands now, in an ideal world, lots more factions would be available, but also it's a specialist game.
It's hard.
You know why?
We're
from Games Workshop's
lucky
point-
because we've been around the block. We're
we've-
old men.
Yeah,
we've
we're,
got armies.
we're old fellas who played the game a long time, and we've got lots of armies.
But I can understand the frustration from people that are just coming back or people that foolishly sold their armies. Oh, actually, no. They didn't get what they deserve.
Well, yeah, that's.
But I can understand the frustration.
Yeah,
but
for
I
sure.
think we're going to be still having a conversation this time next year going, what's the next army?
Yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, if you think that, give or take, there's going to be an army every 3 months. If we're lucky.
If it's on this sort of thing, I think
if
3
we're
months
lucky,
is a fair.
So then you've got dwarves next. Then you've got fast forward 3 months, another army. Fast forward 3 months.
So after
another
dwarves,
army.
after that we've got five armies.
Five
left.
armies left to go.
So you're talking 15 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and then by that point, I imagine, hopefully, we're starting to talk about
Whatever comes next.
whatever comes next. Second edition. I don't know if they're going to move the timeline a little bit. God knows. Like, who knows is the point.
It's a lot of space.
A lot of space, a lot of time, a lot of things to go. But I think, in summary of that area, like, timescale's been frustrating but totally understandable when you look at it logically.
When you take
When you think,
When you look at
of the
all the
world
rest,
in-
all the surrounding, the whole company culture, what's been happening there, where the you
I think
don't
that-
like it, but you've got to
don't
go
like
kinda-
it, but you get
it's
it.
what it is.
Yeah,
It's still better than not having a game.
It's 100%. It's still better than not having a game. Is it ideal? No. Do we want it quicker? Of course we do, because we love the game.
We want everything
We
quicker
want everything available.
and for half the price.
Yeah, that would be nice. But that's production. That's the time.
But
scales.
on the other news, you briefly said you saw it, that they've
Yeah.
announced a massive new factory build.
New factory build, isn't it? So that's been. I think that's had planning.
It's gone.
It's
to
gone.
planning.
It's going to planning now. So I mean, not that it's
But
makes
that'll be
anything short
two-
term quicker, but that's several
that'll be
years down the line.
2 or
However,
3 years.
it's still very positive stuff that they've gone in for it, and they probably get it because, to be honest, it's just on their site that they've already
They already own the
they
land.
already own the land. It's on the industrial estate that they're already based
and I
on.
can imagine they've probably got some friends at Nottingham City Council.
They probably had the nod that it's going to get accepted before
Yeah,
they put it in. I would imagine.
You know, there's probably been a few, arcane journals slipped to councillors.
Might even have a dwarf.
Yeah, that's why I haven't got the dwarves, because
That's why you haven't got any trolls.
they've all been used to bribe
Nothing,
councillors.
nothing says council says okay like a troll.
Troll horde.
Troll horde. That's what councillors
damn
roll with,
it.
I would assume. So if that's been the
That's been the
timescales and the
physical.
production, the physical side, what do you think about the non-physical side of the release so far, and like how it's been supported? And
Well, we've had 2 FAQs, which is 2 more than 8th edition had.
I also think speed of them has been pretty good.
Been good, and the quality of them. They haven't just been.
And there's certainly what there haven't been is 10th edition 40k or FAQs.
No, they've struck that nice balance between being more than 2 paragraphs and answering a lot of the questions, not
Not all. Like,
not all of them, but they never will, and then not being a 38-page document
that rewrites the rule book.
that's rewritten the rules.
So yeah, no, I mean I agree. I think both FAQs that have come out have been solid bits of kit and have answered a lot of some of the
helped a
initial
lot.
queries.
It's a deep, wide game.
I think we're ready. It feels that we're almost ready for the next FAQ coming shortly. Obviously I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure.
People are
if
still
there's any-
questioning a lot, but I think the reality is, in the world of fantasy, people have either not played for years, or they've only played 8th edition for years. And a lot of the things people are asking aren't going to be FAQ'd, because people need to read the rulebook
Yeah,
like more thoroughly and
I think there's a lot of we've done it
oh
ourselves.
god,
You know, thought
Edition
the rule
bias.
worked one way because edition bias. When no, if you actually just take the time, reread it,
well that's it. We got into that habit, didn't we, of
questioning every.
question everything, because I've happy to sad to admit, but happy to admit honestly that I've made errors at events as well.
Oh, no one's ever.
And it's both cost me and helped me, and I've apologised to the people I was playing. But no mistakes are made on purpose. No one. It's a game of
No,
choice.
you're not
No
that
one's
sort of
cheating.
person. There's a lot of things we can call you, but you're not that sort
Yeah,
of person.
I'm an arsehole, but I'm not a cheat. But errors happen, and I think the game's new still. And it's let's be honest, Warhammer is a complicated game.
When you're at an event and there's a lot of things going on and there's a clock pressure on you, no one has ever played a perfect game.
No.
No one's ever got every measurement right, every rule exactly right. There's no such thing as a perfect Warhammer game.
No, agreed.
Especially not in that set.
Well, it's easy when you and I, when we're sitting playing here, we've fallen in the habit of question everything. So even if we're not actually sure, rulebook comes out and we'll have a read.
Yeah. Or if there's a fraction of a doubt.
If we're even remotely unsure, we'll just check the rulebook, because we're trying to form those good habits where things are locked in your brain.
Yeah.
Also, I suppose probably other people are in the same boat. We're bouncing through several different armies.
Yeah.
As we'll come on to talk about in a little while, but we're trying to get the basics of the game learned properly in the routine, but also learning armies.
And also trying to get better at it.
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
more competitive.
Be more competitive, be more thorough. Because you want to play the best you can play, but also you want to give your opponent the best game they can have, because that's how. Surely that's.
And also we've had the thing where being able to, knowing that you know the rule is there is one thing. Being able to find it in a heartbeat.
Oh my god! In the rulebook, I mean, you are much better at it than I am.
Because if you know the rules there and you can quickly get it out, problem solved in an event in 30 seconds.
Yeah, 100%.
If you'd have to dig around for it.
Yeah. And that's another thing. That's like I knew a rule was a rule, but I couldn't find it in the rulebook in an event to show somebody, so we didn't play it. There's no hard feelings there. It is what it is. Like, you just need to keep working at it. But I mean, I think to circle back around, I think FAQs have been really good.
FAQs have been good.
So far, they don't contradict one another yet either, so that's really positive. Thank you very much, Spirit Leech in 8th edition. Oh, sorry, Inspiring Presence specifically in 8th edition with your 2 different FAQs that completely were juxtaposed to one another, but I'm not bitter about it. I'm just
moved on.
We've moved on.
It's good, and I think obviously playing the 40k side and been sick to my back teeth of it. That gets updates every 3 months. They've rewritten the core rules twice now, and it's only been out 18 months. Points adjustments every 6 months. Balance tweaks here and there every 3 months. It's
a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot. I want it somewhere in between.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who doesn't play, obviously I last played 40k in 3rd or 4th edition, so genuinely decades ago. But as someone who purely plays fantasy and has for a long time, and continued to play it when it wasn't supported, I'm just happy to play a game that's supported by GW.
Yeah.
Frankly, I was so happy when we attended the GW event in April.
Yep.
It was just lovely to play fantasy in the home of fantasy, and knowing that the game is supported and we're going to continue to be able to play the game.
Yeah, well, we're back there again in August?
September?
August bank holiday.
There you go. I know what's happening. So,
but onto that, we'll go
that was the general thoughts of sort of the non-game game, if that makes sense. So we've talked about production, we've talked about timescales, etc. So
all in all, I'll give them, if I'm going to be logical and dispassionate about it, a B+, A?
Yeah, I think a B+ is probably fair overall. I think
if I'm going to be a fanboy, I'm just going to rage on the internet for the next half hour.
Aye.
But I want it all and I want it now.
It all, I want it now, and I wanted it yesterday, and I want it cheaper. But you take out some of the passion, you talk about it logic, you know why the issues are there. But that said, it could have certainly gone a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. It could have been.
And it's got. The production might not be there, but I think the general support has been.
Yeah.
And if I was looking two sides of a coin.
I've got to say, the new boxes, decent size, decent number of models in the box, and for a reasonable price.
Yes, the army boxes so far, I think
not just the army boxes.
Oh, just the boxes in general. Yeah,
exactly. What I've got here, the Bow Boys and the Wolf Riders.
Not bad at all.
Not a bad price, and the number of models you get in them is an actual usable amount.
You buy that, you've either got one big unit or two small units.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy boxes and boxes.
Not the days of 8th edition of having to buy, 4 boxes to get a unit.
Aye. Yeah. And that is lovely, that is a good thing.
That's obviously been thought about.
Yeah, it is a harken back to like the 6th ed days where you bought a box, you built and painted that box was a unit ready to go.
Yeah.
I think that's a positive thing, for sure. So, into the game itself then, what are your thoughts on the general feelings of the game after 6 months.
Obviously, this is very subjective. It's subjective
Yes.
on my experiences with the people I'm playing in the environments we play in. So I'm not saying this is everyone's experience. Not saying it's right, it's wrong. My feelings is that, as usual, we've got the big Linehammer thing, the whole dragon unkillable thing, and so far, none of them have really come to pass in my experience.
Yeah, and I think the meta's very much evolving, obviously, because the game's in such flux and like it's
very
moving
quickly as well.
I think there was a lot out there about the concept of Linehammer and how disastrous that could be for the game. Like, I've not seen it. I've not seen it. We've done 3 events now, and I've not played anyone who's been playing Linehammer.
I think I've
played it against it once and it didn't do well.
I've used it once defensively.
Yeah, and the point is, it's got a place in the game.
Yeah. But it isn't the end.
And then the dragon meta. Have I struggled with the dragon meta? In the games when I've played dragons, I have struggled. That's more the fact that my list at the time didn't really counter dragons.
Yeah.
Less that the dragons were completely broken, or I think they're very strong. Like, yes, they are, but things are strong in the game. It was more the fact that the army I was playing didn't
have an answer.
Didn't have an answer to it, and like that is just tough on me, frankly. If I didn't write a list that had a counter to one of the big metas, that's my own fault. But
yeah,
like, that's the list I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And did it cost us? Did it cost us when I played at Warhammer World against the Dragon? Yeah, it did. Do I regret my list? No, I don't.
You still did bloody well.
Yes, and I still had a really good time.
I think they're good, and I'm pleased they're good, but I don't think they all. The only thing I'm disappointed about is infantry is struggling.
I was just about to say, I think when we talk about different metas, we talk about Linehammer, which I don't think has really come to pass. We talk about Dragon meta. We've got the Viletide meta.
Yeah.
Which answers the Dragon meta.
Yeah.
Which is the point, but then actually there's lots of things that do well against Vile Beastmen as well. So you've got the Scream list meta.
That's a bit toxic.
It's very toxic. It's very toxic. I think the difference between the Scream list now compared to say 8th is that you can mitigate damage in 8th by wounding the creature.
But on the defense list, I say it's toxic. I've played you using it a few times,
and it is disgusting.
But again, I didn't have anything.
No. Whereas if I played against your dwarf list,
yeah,
the good chance is my
current dark elf list,
there's a good chance my general on a mortis engine
is gone.
Poof.
Or even if you go double mortis engines, neither of them are your general. They're both
the
gone. Terrorgeist's gone.
Like, I wouldn't mind playing the Scream list versus the Chaos Dwarf list I'm currently looking at, because I think it's got answers.
Yeah.
But that's the point. I think the meta's very in flux while we talk about things settling, but I'm with you. I think the one thing I would really criticise, or I don't like, is the lack of impact that infantry have.
Yeah. Yeah, infantry needs something.
They do need something. Like,
there needs to be a reason for infantry. At the minute,
there's not.
Isn't.
And I think, it's as quote-unquote comps evolve, and what I mean by that is people aren't just playing kill points.
Yeah, there's a lot of answers, whether it be like mission rules,
scoring, like restrict, like there's flex.
The Cardiff Crusades.
Yeah.
Used to have missions where you had to have
scoring points, like those,
scoring units.
Yeah, they did that well in their packs.
I think that was lifted from 9th Age.
I think so, but the characters were never scoring. I like that. Yeah. Like, and hats off to Chris and the Cardiff guys. Like, it did add an extra little bit of thought and flavour to the game, which is lovely. I think there's answers out there.
There's answers out there. What we've got to remember is we are still
6 months in. It's very early. At the minute, and this is my opinion again, it's an opinion, so please don't shoot us or hang us dry. I think the focus at the minute is getting the game out. It's out there. We've just come from 8th, which was a massively heavy edition for infantry. Yeah. It was all about hordes. It was all about
cavalry
were crap. Monsters were essentially crap. It was just a horde game.
It was horde and fast cav.
Now, fast cav's still good.
Vascar still very good.
Their crazy manoeuvrability has been toned down though, and that's positive.
Yep.
I think some of
But they're
the
still really manoeuvrable in the context of
the game. Yeah. Do I think we've got a little bit OTT with skirmishing characters? Yes. I don't agree with 360-degree arcs on mounted solo characters, but that's a personal opinion.
Yeah.
It's personal opinion, and that's that. And like, so I think there's flex there from a balance point. Like, do I agree that a Bretonian lord can literally charge everywhere around the border? It's just mental. But at the same time, like, that's just part and parcel of the game settling as well. And like, I think, hoping the game's going to evolve, whether we get something from GW or whether we get some comps out there coming up with something to push infantry. I think infantry need a place in the game, but having come from 8th, which was all about the hordes, and understand why it's the least important thing on Games Workshop's sort of mind.
Mind at the minute, yeah. Like I say, to prelude to something we'll talk about later, is for our event we've discussed having missions in.
Yeah.
But basically we think at the minute it's too early to start baffling with putting missions in and making it more complex
I think at the minute
than it needs to be.
People are still learning. I genuinely think people are still learning the game. Rules are still settling. Meta are still settling.
Yeah. Before we start, I'm against any sort of comp at the minute or changing missions, even though I really want to.
I want to. I really like missions. I think when missions add to the game, like I remember some of the old 8th events where you'd have like secret missions and slaughter missions, messengers, scoring. I actually think all of that makes the game a better game. However,
it gives it a bit of variety.
It does.
But what we've got to remember is 8th, we're playing the same game for 10 years.
Yes, that.
It needed that variety, or otherwise it was going to be stale.
People are still like building armies. People are still learning
people
armies.
That haven't even had a game yet.
Yeah, like I think it's very early to start pushing compacts yet.
Yes.
Do I think that's going to come? 100%.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely do, and I think the game will be better for it in the long run. I do.
I would go to an event with a compact, but I think it's still very early.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting a lot of noise from various stats sources and all of that. We've still got a tiny data sample.
Yeah,
and people are still learning.
Talk about I was in recently at one of the Scrapes events, Empire Gunline. Thank God,
baby.
Come on, baby. Come on, Empire. But that was the first time Empire had been anything other than absolutely dog shit, pardon my language, in the edition. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, is it an Empire Gunline meta? No, it's not. It's just that answers some of the other metas.
That answers your double mortis engine, your Dragon Lord.
Yeah, it does. It does.
If they went away and you suddenly had a mass infantry army, that Empire list would look at it and go,
crap. What am I going to do with that? Nothing.
Can I do enough damage?
And if it played just a really, not particularly monster heavy, but just a really aggressive rush list,
yep.
Like, ain't no guns in the world going to get that off if they go second, especially.
Or even little things like a Brett list against that, but not Brett's where the player has the sense to go, wait a minute, I'm just going to go lines and not lancers.
Yeah.
And then your cannon's taken off one guy.
One knight. So I mean, you see, you always talk about that. We've talked about the screen meta, which I do think is disgusting. If I'm
it's
honest.
Disgusting, but I don't think it's.
There's answers to it though. I just think there's not. The reason I say it's disgusting is one, it's very powerful when you combine with necromancy magic.
Yes, it could have got that stack.
The synergy's outrageous. Yeah, you can stack, done. The issue is there's no real counter to it in the fact that there's no involvement. You just take leadership and take models off.
No, that's the feel bad.
The reason I think it's disgusting is because it's not very enjoyable. And we all play the game, it's nice to win.
Yeah.
And anyone who says it's not nice to win is kidding themselves. However, the most important thing is actually having a good game.
Playing that list, you don't actually have to really do anything. You just go to someone, roll 2 dice.
Yeah, well,
and
you and I have had 2 games when I've used the screen list. Yeah. And let's be honest, we enjoyed our games because we always have good games. But that was not what you would call an enjoyable game.
No, just rolling 2 dice and picking up a model. It wasn't fun.
Take that off. Take them off. Take that off now. And like,
with no risk.
With no risk, to me, so. But the point, I suppose, we talk about screen meta. There's the dragon meta. There's line hammer meta. There's quote unquote
heavy
Empire gun meta, cav meta. Vile Tide meta, Jack, you filthy beast. Like there's lots of things out there that are already being quoted as a meta. Like
Yeah.
the whole. I think that what shows in 6 months in, there's clearly not a meta because everything's now a meta.
Then there's the stealth meta of the Tomb Kings.
Oh, the Mortuary Cult.
Mortuary Cult.
Oh.
Stealth.
Underpowered, leave them alone, guys. Come on, Tomb Kings. Yeah, I think the game's very much in flux, and for someone who played 8th edition for a long, long time, and the game was very, very stale and was only ever mixed up,
isn't it?
Yes, mixed up through compacts. We don't need compacts at the minute. The game itself is in flux.
We've played we've been to 3 tournaments, and
We went to 3 tournaments and we played a lot of games.
It's exciting. I think there's been probably 2 or 3 games where I've sat down and gone, what do you got? Oh, you've got that. Oh, I know exactly what's in your list. And every time, the only times that has happened is against Brett's.
Yeah,
Because they're boring Brett's. But every other time it's kind of like, and what does that do?
I've come across a lot of different lists, like you say. Even say the Chaos list with the Chaos Dragon Lord. I've come across multiple different builds of said Dragon Lord, which has been quite nice.
And what's around
it's been very different. I've come up against multiple different Tomb King lists.
Beastmen the same.
Beastmen,
different
really
lords.
different. Orcs and Goblins, other than a lot of Fanatics per unit. I think the rest of the army I've seen a lot of differences in.
Yeah, you start with at least 2 Night Goblin units and then
starting to
go
see
from there.
In the last event we've seen I played against a Troll Horde list.
Yeah.
That was cool. I'm seeing lots of different dwarf lists that I've come across so far.
I think there's a lot with what I'm classing as, what some people think are the underpowered list, but I'm thinking, or the need a faction specialist list. Your Empire, your Dwarves, Skaven, the ones people have gone, they're a bit weak and a bit. No, I think there's some. Well, the Empire gun lists, proven it. It just needs someone to sit there and go, I'm going to crack this code.
Yes, but I also think that even say in that example, there's clear weaknesses to that list, and if you happen to get drawn, again, it's just a game. So if you get drawn against an army that counters it,
an orc, nomadic wag.
Yeah, for example, who's just going to run across the board at you, that gun list is in for a rough time. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Or if you imagine that gun list against your Night Goblin list, where actually cannons aren't taking anything off that you give a hairy rat's ass about.
My squig hoppers, my squig manglers, my giant.
But they're just they're
there to catch cannibals.
Yeah, they are there. All your good stuff. Like manglers are incredible, but all your big stuff's going to get there because you're just going to throw them across the board quickly. And
they've got 1 or 2 turns.
You've got literally maximum essentially of 2 turns to deal with all of that. So for me, I'm still very excited about how the game's in flux.
Yeah.
Because we played Warhammer 8th Ed for so long, and it was so. Again, I loved 8th edition. I still love 8th edition, but it was a stale game.
It was. It had been.
It was a decade.
It had been broken.
The code had been broken, and then people were creating their own comps, like the amazing work the Triple Crown guys did with creating their comp pack, which is probably the most widely used tally comp.
But that's the problem with that. It got widely used, and then it was just. It's another Triple Crown comp event.
Yeah.
No offense to the guys.
Oh no, they're doing amazing.
But
that's my point. We went from having out the box H, which was disgusting. We then had for a lot of years, predominantly used by Swedish comp.
Yeah.
And then various different tally comps, of which towards the back time of 8, Triple Crowns was by far the most well used and best, and led to balance games.
Yeah. But took a bit of the.
But
you knew what a list is.
When your game's been around for 10 years plus, you get net lists. Like, fact. And a lot of people, not everyone, not at all, but I think what I'm loving about Old World at the minute is that there's no real such a thing as a net list per se yet. There's some of them are starting to generate, like, don't get us wrong, like your Brett guy on his peg with the Virtue Heroism, you have another Brett guy on a peg with the Ogre Blade.
Yeah.
Done and done. fine. Like, look, you're gonna get that.
Oh,
you're
always
gonna get that. Your Chaos Lord on a dragon, Ogre Blade, done, parked, bosh. Like, do I think the Ogre Blade's undercosted? Yes, I do. However, the game is still very new. Things are going to evolve, and I, for one, think
they got Brett list. If other big monsters go away,
that'll change.
Those two characters will lose a lot of the value.
But yeah, because otherwise, just a guy with a really expensive lord running around with hero killing bull when there's no monsters. All right.
And he's got killing bull, but meh.
Yeah. You get ground down off troops.
Yep.
So I don't know.
It's
In summary, we could talk about we could talk about balance and metas as a recording all by itself if we wanted to be honest.
But ultimately the thing would be, at the minute, no one's got a clue. Anyone that says they've got a clue is deluding themselves or lying.
Yeah, I think every time someone thinks they broke the code, like I don't know, the Scream list, then you suddenly get
the canon list,
or you get the Viletide list. And there's lots of different things floating around, so let's not start worrying that there's a crazy meta already, because there's not. I think lots of different armies have won lots of different events, and I think we think that the 3 events we've personally been to, we've had Lizardmen won the first event. All right, I appreciate that was before they got adjusted.
Yeah.
Then we had
Mortuary
Cult won an event
with no dragon.
And then we had
Beastman
with double Viletide. And then they're only the events we've been to. Obviously, we're fully aware of. We've not made it to a square based event yet, which is a shame. However, like, we know a couple of those have been won by Scream lists. Then we've had Jack won one with his Viletide meta list.
Yeah.
We've had the Empire list, the Gunline. So already we're talking. BC have won a couple. TK, Beastmen have won a couple.
I would say the square based one is quite an interesting. It's a small tournament every time.
Yeah.
Is it 20 or 30?
30 people, I think.
But they're so regular now. It's a microcosm of a meta.
Yeah.
Because that Scream list was there,
Yeah.
and now the Empire Gun list come out.
Because
it's the same people going all the time.
The meta evolves itself.
Then if they went out into the wider world, go down to Triple Crown, and then suddenly everything's going to be different.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think with that in mind, and so far I've enjoyed the game very much. I've enjoyed every event we've been to as well.
I've enjoyed it. It's so nice having a diary full of events.
Oh, it's been amazing, hasn't it?
Without having to travel.
There's been too many events.
Yeah.
I'd love to attend more, but unfortunately I need to work for a living.
Yeah.
That Euro Millions did not happen again on Friday night, which is upsetting.
I've got to put mine on for Tuesday.
Yes.
180 million.
So I mean that would be nice. Then it'll be Event City. But we've had lots of good events, and they've been really interesting, and long may that continue.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
So
on the subject of events, we've got 3 in the booth.
3 coming up. So we've
got 4 really.
4. So we've got Triple Crown, their GT down in Southend-on-Sea. Many miles away from us up here in the frozen. Well, not so much frozen today. It's outrageously warm. However, up here in the north, we're going to travel the length of England and go down to Essex. We attend the Triple Crown GT every year.
See the wildlife down there.
I'm really looking forward. We've been to one of their events this year already in Derby, but
yeah, this is a big one. 60 players.
60 players. Very interested to see how that goes.
It'll be a good laugh.
It will be really good. It's always a good event.
We've got quite a small northern contingent going down this year.
Much smaller than normal. A few people couldn't get the time off for work, or have been unable to attend for a couple of other reasons.
Also, I think it's because of the Triple Crowns, it's really a 4-dayer.
Yeah, it's which we travel on the Friday. There's then all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then a long travel back up. So you need the Monday off.
You need the
really.
Monday off. So it's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. It is a big commitment. So I think, as it stands, there's only 3 from really in the north, and I know.
Well, there's
Liam and whatnot's going as well.
There's 2 from the north, me and yourself.
There's
3 concerts.
There's a plethora of concert team. But yes, but considering how many of us went down to see Derby, where we made up a third of the field,
yeah,
there was a much smaller contingent. So, and obviously we will do pre
and post.
We'll do pre and post recordings hopefully this time of all the events. But we've got that one coming up first in July. We've then got Warhammer World in August.
Yep, last weekend, first weekend of September.
I think that's probably about 60 players as well.
It was 60 last time. I'm not sure if they've increased the capacity or.
Yeah, but I'm very
that's sold out in a heartbeat.
Literally within 2 minutes, and I know Jack's attending that as well, so that'll be nice. But that was an amazing event last time. I am very.
I'll be interested to see what they've
done. And the last time we did Warhammer World, it was 1,500 points.
1,500 points on smaller boards.
So this time, we should have said Triple Crowns is 2,000.
Yeah.
Warhammer World is 2,000.
Yep, on proper size boards.
On full size boards. And then our last one that will be attending this quarter, so to speak.
Well, probably this year.
Is the Leoda's Games 2-day event in Leeds.
Yeah,
we went to there one day.
Yeah, and that's end of September.
Was it 1,250 points?
No, it was 1,500.
1,500 points as well. Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, it was 1,500 because it was not long after release.
1,500 points, 1-day event. That was good fun.
That was
smaller event. It's really cool. Like, the guys who run it are really lovely. The venue's cool. So looking forward to seeing how that event goes as well.
And then 2 weeks after that.
And then 2 weeks after that, we've got our event that we'll be hosting in Newcastle. Details soon to be released.
Big news coming.
Next week. Next week will be the recording and the release of the pack. Watch this space. We'll come on.
But there are still tickets available. They're on Eventbrite.
Yep. Link will be in the description. And like I say, we'll have another recording in a week's time where we have our official launch of the pack, and we'll talk through what's in the pack, why we've got it in the pack, and what's not in the pack.
And what's at the event.
What's at the event. Yeah, we'll have a full recording on that so we can really get our thoughts and what we've got going on. So
that is planned for next Saturday, so depending on how badly England screw up.
Yes, this is all predicated on how terribly, or if England decide to just not be shit for a little bit. So we'll see. However, it will be out soon. So we've got those 3 events coming up that we're attending. What's on your hobby desk and what are you working on?
As usual.
What are you working on?
Far too many projects and not enough time. For Triple Crown as a teaser, I'm taking a Dark Elf list to that.
Yes, which has gone through a few iterations so far, hasn't it?
It's gone through quite a few, but I think I'm 99% happy.
I think your current one is there or thereabouts now, your list.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of painting. Well, not a lot of painting.
A lot of painting. Sorry, it's a lot of painting. You've got a lot of painting
to do before that. As well, I've got the Night Goblin Horde just chugging in the background.
Yep, and is that Warhammer World?
That's probably going to be Warhammer World.
Yeah. Back to the Night Goblins for Warhammer World.
Yeah, but that's the Night Goblins are just. I think I've probably got about 4,000 points.
You've got a lot of Night Goblins to be fair.
And I'm just adding more and more as more and more becomes available.
Yeah. Not a lot of paint to do for that list, though, have you?
No, it's just a lot of. Like, I've got another 40 actual goblins I want to paint up.
Of course you have.
But and then in the background as well, I've got a Warriors of Chaos list.
Yes,
which
it's a bit different as well. You're looking at, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's my
really long-term plan. Isn't
really long-term. It's not going to see a table for at least probably a year.
Yeah,
and that's
this
one
I'm
going to enjoy to paint, not feel shit. I've got 3 weeks to paint.
Hello, Dark Elves.
50 Dark Riders.
The Chaos one's more like a little bit of a love project you've got on the back burner, isn't it?
It's going to be about doing nice base and slow painting on it, and just enjoying it.
Aye.
A lot of conversion work.
So what's your current thoughts for the Leeds event?
I don't know.
Really not sure yet.
I did want to go Troll Horde, but
The trolls aren't here yet.
Trolls aren't here. Leeds, I'll just... Their pack hasn't come out. We'll see. It depends on the scoring system.
Well, that's what you've got. Yeah, because if it's 20-0, you won't take your goblins, will you? Because you don't like them in 20-0.
No, I don't like
If it's
them.
kill points, you might take your goblins.
Yeah.
You
Or I
got
might take
dwarves.
the dwarves.
Or
I might
you
take
back
the
to
dark
dark elves
elves.
because plus you'll have painted them.
Yeah. So it's all up in the air, one at a time.
Well, I obviously so far I've only attended events. I know the very first event I took, Empire.
Yeah.
But in reality, the army I've been playing the whole time so far has been my Mortuary Cult list.
Yeah, and only Mortuary Cult.
And only Mortuary Cult. So for Triple Crown,
You've gone.
I've gone really out the.
You've gone everywhere with.
I've gone.
Triple
Oh my
Crown.
god! What I had Mortuary Cult that I was testing, which I'm probably going to be taking to Warhammer World. In fact, I will be taking to Warhammer World.
Then you had a different Mortuary Cult list. You were.
Yeah. So that one. I mean, God, the Mortuary Cult went through like 3 or 4 iterations of a list before I went. I need a break from Tomb Kings.
Then you considered Empire.
Considered Empire.
You considered, I think, Orcs were on the table.
Orcs on the table, because I thought, they're all painted, all I've got to do is rebase them. We then test played a few games with the Scream list, which is incredibly powerful, and if I was only going there with the intention of winning, the Scream list would be what I would take. Because I think it's disgusting. But it is not fun.
It's not.
It's not fun. It's fun to play, it's not fun to play against.
Yeah.
And it's fun to play. It's fun to play for like a game or two. Otherwise, actually, it just gets a little bit disgusting.
I think it could be a very frustrating list to play if people have got answers to it, because...
Yeah, so that was what I was going to play. And then, coming from nowhere, I've decided pretty much what I'm going to take Triple Crown is my Chaos Dwarfs. They've not been out of the box for a long, long time. I've got a Forge World army that I trekked myself to several years ago.
And that's up to what, version 3 now?
It's up to version 3 already. We've got the latest version to test, but I'm definitely going Chaos Dwarfs to Triple Crown. You heard it here first. I've committed.
Scott will see you with Bretonians at Triple Crown.
Committed. To be honest, the list that the newest iteration, I do have quite a bit of paint, weirdly. And by that means, because I've changed my Lord setup, I've got an old metal Lamisil that needs painted, and I've got some Bull Centaurs that I've never used that need painted. And a little bit of basing to do. So I've got much more to do with the CDs than I had with any of the other options I was actually toying with.
Bring in the beef.
But I'm bringing the beef. It's all cow all the time. Warhammer World, I'll be back on Tomb Kings. And truth be told, I'm in a similar boat to yourself with Leeds.
Leeds is just too far out.
Leeds is too far out. I'm not sure what I'll be taking. Depends how much I enjoy both the armies I take to Warhammer World and Triple Crown.
By then we might have Dwarf Arcane Journal, so
God knows. Yeah, God knows. So I mean, that's not until September.
Yeah,
so
it's a long way.
I'll worry about the 2 we've got upcoming first. That's
lots of painting.
Lots of painting to do, lots of work to do. We've got a lot on our hobby desk, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, and 25 tables worth of terrain.
And we've got 25 tables of terrain to paint as well. So that's going to be a chore in and of itself.
But once it's
a
done,
labour of
it's
love.
done.
A labour of love, we'll call it. So yes, we're trying to kind of segues on nicely to, I suppose, to start to wrap us up for the day.
Yeah, I think just keep it short. We'll be, hopefully, all things going according to plan. We will
have another recording out next week.
Next week with the pack.
The pack should be done next week, and we will be.
And then a very quick turnaround for the TC
preview. So hopefully we've gone from being pretty inconsistent with our recordings. Again, apologies for that. Anybody who actually wants to listen to us. But so we'll be wrapping up now. But we'll have our event launch.
I've just remembered. I'm just looking at them on the shelves. I've got the Exiles Bretonians.
Oh God, your Exile Bretonians. That's another thing you've got to work on. You just need to give yourself work to do.
What we really need is massive sponsorship, or win the lottery, and then
if we could win the lottery, then we could definitely get this sorted.
And then you'd get regular podcasts.
You would. So I mean, if anyone wants to just donate vast sums of money, that would be amazing. Or provide me with a winning lottery ticket, I'll also accept. So yeah, that's us. That's our ramblings of 6 months done for the now. This time next week, hopefully around there or thereabouts, England games dependent, you will get our pack launched. And we'll talk through it, what we've got in there.
Just some
more rambling thoughts about, but specifically about our pack.
Of why it's there, what we've chosen to do, and why we've chosen,
yep.
and why you should come.
And then very quickly after that, we'll do our pre-Triple Crown list reviews.
Yep.
Oh,
busy couple of months.
But thank you anyone who has listened.
Please, well done for making it 50 minutes.
Yeah. Please like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. Send us money. Send us money. That'll be lovely. Link to the Forgotten North event and tickets via Eventbrite will be in the description. If you can make it, we would love to have you there. There is still some tickets available, and we will be going through it in a lot more detail with the pack next week. And until then,
we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Good night.